Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday carry people. It's the Big Canucker here, and you know what? Today we're going to be having a look at one of my favorite flipper knives. It's incredibly flipperific. So if you're a flipper or a fidgeter, this is one to get. It is the Massdrop X Ferrum Forge Buc titanium frame lock. I also want to have a quick apology here. I haven't did a couple of videos here for a couple of weeks. I had an absolutely hellacious flu here, and man, I was so sick. And it's only been recently, the last 3 or 4 days, that I have felt like kind of doing anything. And I thought, you know what? I've been away from my channel for too long, for a couple of weeks, and I just wanted to get back and show you guys a wonderful little knife here. It is one of my favorites, and it's what I'm going to be currently carrying today. Now here we'll just have a quick look at this size wise, do a little comparison here. Of course, we've got a Paramilitary 2 here, so you can see that it's a little bit smaller than the Paramilitary 2. Of course, I got my lucky toonie, so you know what that's like. And then we've got another one of my favorites here, which is the Spyderco Manix 2XL. As you can see here, it is quite a bit smaller than both of those knives. You know, handle-wise and even blade-wise, it's a little bit shorter. But you know what? This is a really functional blade. It's something that I have enjoyed using here for the last bit. We'll put away this Paramilitary 2, and then we'll talk about this. Now, this is a looks like you've got a kind of a little bit of a cleaver, almost kind of a cleaver sheep foot, reverse sheep foot blade here. And, you know, the grind lines on it here are absolutely beautiful. I really like the look of this knife. And just to give you an idea here of some of the sizes here as well. All right, we've got a blade length of 3.5 inches, which is, you know, in my view, I think the perfect EDC size. You know, give or take, you know, a ½ an inch. 3.5 seems to be the perfect size for an EDC carry. Your close length here is 4.3 inches. So, you know, it's a little bit on the small side that way. The overall length is just under 8 inches, which is 7.8 inches. And it weighs in at 3.6 ounces, which, you know what, is extremely light to carry. But the way this is kind of set up, it seems like it's a little bit blade heavy with this little bit of a cleaver design, and I really enjoy this knife. You know, it's got some great drop shuttitude, and it flicks beautifully, you know what, and the frame lock is wonderful too as well. So yeah, just to give you an idea, it is a titanium frame lock with a titanium spacer, as well as a reversible titanium clip, which seems to be a really nice little clip. It's not quite deep carry. There's a little bit that's left to be sticking out, but you know, it seems to carry really well. Despite having this edge kind of sticking out, when that goes in your pocket, it kind of tucks right in the back of your pocket, and you're extremely smooth here with a little bit of a, as somebody in the knife industry would say, a little bit of a pocket pecker sticking out. But you know what? It's not that bad. On your flipper tab, you've got a little bit of jimping there. You've also got some jimping along the blade and some backspacer jimping. And the backspacer jimping is actually quite grippy, as well as this too, as the one on your thumb. It's extremely handy. Sometimes you got some jimping that just seems to really bite into you, cut you almost, where this one allows you to have the grip, but it doesn't destroy your thumb. You've also got the little forward finger choil, and you got to be careful. If you've got this razor sharp like I do, sometimes that choil, if you're a little bit bigger finger, you can kind of give yourself a little bit of a cut. I know that I had myself just a little bit of a nick there one time. I was doing a little bit sloppy. The blade is actually an S35VN, which is extremely good steel. I know I've not felt any sort of chipping on this at all, and I like to lay my angles back quite a bit, and this one here is sharpened at about 12 degrees. 13 degrees, so it's a little bit of a bigger bevel there, but this steel has been able to handle it extremely well. Of course, you've got titanium frame with a titanium frame lock, but you've also got the hardened steel insert, which is going to prevent any sort of frame stick or frame lock or lock stick, as well as what makes it so incredibly smooth is your caged ball bearings. I think this is one of the smoothest knives I own, especially for being not a super expensive knife, coming in about 140 bucks. It's Canadian, so I don't know what that is in American. 50. All right, but this is a Ferrum Forge, which is an Elliott Williams design, built by We Knives in China, and they did an extremely good job. This knife is put together extremely well. The tolerances are very, very nice on this, and it is extremely smooth. Now, I like this little bit of a thumb hole opening here. I'm a big Spyderco guy, so that allows me to give it a little bit of a flick if I decide to. You can also, of course, fire it out with the flipper tab, and then you can actually sometimes thumb flick it too as well if the mood strikes me. But other than that, extremely well put together blade. Now this blade here too is actually 4 millimeters thick, so it is a little bit of a thick blade, but because it has that high saber grind, it is a really good slicer. You know, whether you're cutting an apple or you're cutting some cardboard, this seems to run through it quite nicely, especially if you've got a really nice edge like I have on this one here too as well. Now, some of the other things here too as well, you've got the ceramic detent ball, and the detent, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely dialed in this knife. And I just flicked it right into and give myself a little bit of a cut, you know, a little bit of stupidity. I guess you just can't teach smarts. So there, the detent is absolutely dialed in perfectly as far as I'm concerned on this knife. It's not too thick, not too hard, not too soft, and it fires out every single time. Whether you're going to do like kind of a push button or you're going to do a light switch, it'll fire every single time, and it locks up really nice. And I suspect because of this kind of cleaver sheep's foot blade, it's got a lot of weight here in the front end, and that seems to help it out quite a bit too as well. And I just think the design is spectacular on this knife. Of course, you've got a lanyard hold here too as well, and it looks like it's just part of the back spacer. I put just a paracord tie on here too as well, because I really seem to like this all my knives to have that little bit of a tie too as well. Now, you would think that this knife is kind of a small-handled knife, and it is it is a small-handled knife. The handle thickness is 1.2 centimeters, or just a little bit smidge under ½ an inch, but just the way it seems to be designed, that it seems to fit the hand really well. I haven't noticed any terrible hot spots. This clip here can sometimes dig in a little bit depending upon how you cut, but it seems to fill the hand bigger than what the design or what the actual numbers would indicate. I think it's an extremely comfortable knife. It goes in the pocket really well. I can flick this knife for hours at a time and have lots of fun, because I love that just a little bit of drop, not a whole lot of help to have that completely drop shut, and extremely smooth and extremely satisfying. I know there's some knives out there that are fun and satisfying to open and close, and this happens to be the one. And with that 4 millimeter blade, it's also going to be extremely tough. I've had this knife for, let's just say, probably a year and a bit, and it's held up extremely well. Now, because it is a titanium frame lock, it's got some snail trails on it, but nothing that extremely shows up that it's terrible. The blade is held up really well too as well. I haven't had any real terrible scratches in it, other than it's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet. And but hey, all shiny things are. Now this here also comes in many different colors. You've got a blue, a bronze, and a gray, and this one happens to be the gray. And you've actually got another blue called a mothership blue and a supernova blue. And you've also got the mothership bronze, supernova bronze, and a supernova gray, as well as a mothership gray. Now and you've also got many different designs on it too as well. So I guess the mothership gray is the same gray, but it actually is just a little bit of a different color, or a little bit of a different design. This one is kind of plain, and that's kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for something because I like to have this, kind of a smooth finish on them. A lot of my titanium knives, I actually sand to almost a mirror finish because I like that feeling, and not too often am I worried about having to grip a knife so much that I need to have that super grip on it. This one here is, like I said, it's held up extremely well. So now if you've got a few bucks kicking around and the next time you're looking for a fun little knife to add to your collection, this is one I would definitely recommend. Giving it a big Canucker score, I would probably say I would give this, an 8 out of 10. The styling I think might be a little bit polarizing. A lot of times people don't like these multifaceted cleaver style blades, but to me it seems to look really well. Now it's I forgot, I guess it's called the Buc because of it's modeled after a Buccaneer's knife, and I guess it gives you that kind of swooping blade too as well. And like I said here about the blade here too, it does give a really nice belly on here too as well. So it is a really good kind of slicey knife, and it's something that I would definitely recommend. With a big Canucker score of 8 out of 10. All right, you know what? I want you guys to have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much for the new subscriptions and the likes. And you know what? If you do like this, please give me the thumbs up as well as subscribe. And remember, keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up, and the pointy end away from your bits.